For God's sake, stop stacking degrees. What do I mean by that? This is a phenomenon that I've seen many times over many years, and this is the general scenario. You have individuals, usually students from non-educational backgrounds. That is, they are the first to go to college, or if they're not the first to go to college, they certainly have more education than the majority of the people who brought them up, the community or family they were raised in. So they go to college and they pursue a program of study. Towards the end of college, these individuals decide that they are going to immediately go on for a master's degree. And then at the end of the master's degree program, they look and say, I'm going to get another master's. Now, sometimes these master's degrees are done part-time, but sometimes these individuals remain in school this entire time. And this is what I call stacking degrees. Because when I ask these students, and I've had this same conversation many times just to understand what their thought process is and why they are doing it. Well, their thought process is that if they get more education, they are more qualified for a position. Now, unfortunately, this is not the case in most scenarios, particularly in business. Now, that may be a different scenario if you plan to go into academia, because education as you move up becomes less about sitting in a classroom and learning things. It becomes more about becoming knowledgeable about a topic and then pursuing paths of study in that topic. That is, you're becoming a researcher. And the school you're going to helps you learn the background information so you can get started in researching that, the research methods that you can use to actually conduct research on your own, lots of statistical methods courses related to the data that you collect in any of your research studies. But the phenomenon I've noticed with most of these people is that they don't have an intention to go into academia. That may be a long-term plan, and oftentimes they'll say, I would love to teach at the end of my career. But once again, they're talking about teaching, not becoming researchers. So again, they're stacking these degrees in hopes that it will make them more qualified for a particular job or career path. And that's not true, and here's the reason it's not true. Most career paths want you to have a core set of knowledge coming in. Now, many don't. Many simply say, I want you to have a general, well-rounded education, and we'll teach you everything you need to know. But in most business career fields in particular, the employer would like for you to have specific exposure in areas of business practice that are relevant to that career path or industry. But this is the minimum qualification for an entry-level job. Now, increasing that level of education, going on for master's degree 1, master's degree 2, master's degree 3, does not actually increase your qualifications for higher level jobs. It just makes you more competitive initially for that entry level job. So even after master's degree number 3, you are still competing for that entry level job amongst others, where normally these students have come to the expectation that if they get all of this additional education, that they will somehow jump rank, or they will be qualified for or competitive for higher level positions in an organization without having gone through the years of experience that is inherent in working your way up through the ranks to achieve that position. And what I've come to notice is oftentimes there's a great deal of disappointment when they realize this fact at the end of all of the expense invested, all of the time invested in getting these degrees, and then realizing that it doesn't qualify them for these higher level positions without the commensurate experience. Also, another phenomenon, oftentimes it makes them less competitive for the entry-level positions. Perhaps there's an assumption there among employers that the individual will want more money, or they have expectations outside of the role that they are hiring for because of their elevated level of education, which you could summarize this as the employer simply saying they're overqualified for the job, but that's not really what the employer is saying. They're not saying they're overqualified for the job. They're saying they are baseline qualified, but all of this extra education is completely irrelevant, but it will skew the perception of what they should or could expect out of the job. So oftentimes these individuals don't even get the interviews, or if they do get the interviews, they have to explain away or accept or acknowledge that this extra level of education they've achieved or pursued is irrelevant to the job and will not entitle them to more compensation or benefits, etc. The stacking of degrees is specifically a tendency, once again, that I see in individuals who don't recognize exactly what it takes to acquire a position in a company and what it means to acquire higher level positions through years of practice in specific roles where you work your way up. So to summarize, I am 100% on board with pursuing education if you desire the effects that it will give you, that is, increased knowledge and whatever benefits pursuing that type of higher education can bring to you. But if your expectation is misaligned with the realities of career fields or paths, then you're not making the appropriate decision. So with that being said, before you start pursuing additional education under the belief that it is somehow going to enhance your career prospects in a given career field or path, make certain you talk to someone in that career field or path. Ask them what it takes to move up in that career field or path, and ask them if pursuing additional education is going to provide the value that you anticipate. And that will help you make the appropriate decision. So those are my 2 cents on the topic. If you have an opinion, thoughts about this, I'd love to hear them. Please jump down in the comments below. Go over to thebusinessprofessor.com, start a discussion. But regardless, I hope to see you around the platform soon. Until then, take care.